We begin the news in West Africa, where Nigeria's Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, has suspended Dana Airline operations due to concerns surrounding the safety and financial viability of the operations. The minister also ordered a comprehensive audit of the airline, which will encompass all aspects of safety protocols, maintenance procedures, and financial health to ensure full compliance with the aviation sector's regulations. In a letter to the NCAA Director General titled Immediate Suspension of Dana Air Pending Safety and Financial Health Audit, the minister said the move is necessary to ensure safety and regulatory compliance. Keyamo explained that the recent incident underscored the urgency of the matter and the need for swift and decisive action to be taken to safeguard the interests of all stakeholders involved. And now to discuss this, I am being joined by an aviation analyst, Olumide Omoayo. Olumide Omoayo, thank you so much for joining us on the news.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Nigeria's aviation sector has been considered one of the safest in the world in recent years, and some stakeholders feel the suspension of Dana Air was rather too harsh, as the plane skidded off the runway and not crashed, as some media outlets had rumored. What's your take on this?
Well, I quite agree. We are one of the safest. We have all the necessary certification. We have a category 1 certification from the FAA in America, and we just passed the account audit. So it's not as if we don't have institutions that are regulated and ensuring that we are all safe, and then our airlines are also safe. But unfortunately, what happened today was gross interference from the Minister of Aviation. That was wrong to have ordered, directed DGNCA to suspend Dana. Why are you suspending Dana? Because from what we have all seen, the nose gear collapsed. All the passengers were evacuated safely, even with the crew, and you could see that it was a timely intervention and an operation. But again, Dana is not the first airline that has had a wrong-way excursion. ValueJet, another scheduled airline, had it about 2-3 months ago. We've had two non-scheduled carriers, one in Ibadan, one in Port Harcourt, and none of them were suspended or directed by the minister. So why did you just wake up this tune? Why is it singling out Dana? And again, on the issue of safety of the airlines of aviation, it is the DGNCA that leads that process and not the Ministry of Aviation. You don't give the directives. And there was a minister that promised never to interfere with safety. But look at what he has done now. And I want to tell you this. January this year, January 2024, Delta Airlines in America, that airline, a 757, sorry, was attempting to take off when the nose wheel pulled out of that aircraft and was rolling down the road, down the runway.
Olumide, when you say, Olumide, sorry to cut in, Olumide, when you say interference by regulators, what do you mean by that? Isn't that their core mandate to administer over the air safety airline operations in Nigeria?
You probably did not hear me well. Interference by the minister, not the regulator.
Okay.
Interference by the minister. The minister had no power. He had no right to direct the DGNCA to suspend the operation of Dana. And why are you singling out Dana? ValueJet had the same runway excursion. Two non-scheduled operators had the same runway excursion since the government of President Bola came to power. So why didn't they have their license suspended? Why are you picking on Dana?
And you also talked, Olumide, you also talked about NSIB. You talked about regulatory bodies not really being optimal on what they are meant to do. We have the NSIB, we have the AIB, and of course the NCAA. Are these not regulatory bodies that are meant to ensure safety in terms of operations of the country? Are you saying that they're not doing their job diligently?
I started that we have no reason to fear that if our safety and security standards are low, we will not have the FAA Category 1 certification. That's what we have as a country. We've had it for over 10 years, and we've continued to maintain it and pass it. We also just passed the account audit. So because for us to have all this certification, that means the regulatory authority, which is the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, is up and doing on this job. Then you have the NSIB, whose duty is to investigate accidents and serious incidents. And they have started the process. They said they need 30 days to give a preliminary report. If the preliminary report, yes, you can understand it, maybe based on that report, you are active. But to ask the NCA to suspend Ghana without any report is, for me, that's high-handedness.
Okay, so I also understand that aviation experts had often criticized the reactionary measures of governments to human hazards, and we know that there are air safety protocols. Now, does the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority ensure airlines carry out daily due diligence on facilities used for air commutes, or would you just say there's sheer negligence on the part of these airlines themselves?
Sincerely, it would be wrong. It would be wrong to think that the NCA has not been coming up with being responsible in their duties. Of course, they have. And to call the airlines as not being responsible for their safety, that's also wrong. And both airlines and the regulator have been up and doing with safety-related issues. Gone are those days when you can say we have flying coverage in Nigeria. The regulator is top-notch. The airlines are up ante when it comes to safety and air flight operations. Now, in this case, this aircraft took off from Abuja, and that was not the first flight of the day. It took off. It was on landing, and remember, on landing, the runway 2 was wet, so anything could have happened. But I didn't want to preempt until when we see the report of the NSIB, which is the preliminary report, which is about 30 days. What I'm saying, why have you singled Dana out for suspension? Value Jet had a runway excursion sometime early this year. Two non-scheduled operators have also had excursions, one in Ibadan and one in Port Harcourt. None of those airlines were suspended. Why are you taking on Ghana? Granted, of course, the airlines are not even suspended for their safety regime, but they're suspended for I'm talking about non-scheduled operators now. They are being suspended for operating illegal flights. But if I do not mind, if this initiative had come from the NCA, then we know, yes, they are coming for a bank of information, safety or security position that they've been having with NCA, with Dana Airlines. But in this case, they were directed by the Honorable Minister of Aviation. It is not his duty. It's interference. And that we must make that very clear.
Okay, so yeah, so you've cited issues. You cited issues around interference, unevenness in sanctions being meted out, but then let's just focus on safety now. So when it comes to safety protocols, maintenance procedures, financial health on air assets, what processes should come into play to ensure that regulatory compliance is also ensured and passenger safety is determined?
A safe flight operation they have a couple of things put together for a flight to be safely operated. One of the aspects is the airlines themselves. Another one is the regulator itself, the NCAA. Then you have the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, to the air traffic controllers. And you then also have found the owner of the airport and owner of that runway that was wet. Now, you cannot simulate the airline except a report has come out full to say this airline has issues and has problems. But based on that issue, that excursion alone, to suspend Dana was not right. Coming from the Honorable Minister. If the NCA initiated the process based on information available to them, then we all have to wait and wait for the reasons why they were suspended. But if you look at the letter that came from the ministry, it stated both financial and safety reasons.
But the minister suspended the airline to allow the due course of investigation to be done. That's what he said. He said that all operations of Dana Airlines should be pended until investigation is done and the reason for what happened is ascertained. So don't you think that safety first comes to play here by the directive given by the minister?
When it comes to, I repeat again, when it comes to the issue of safety of an airline, to grant an airline, it is initiated by the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. What he has done can make them sanction the regulator. Okay. Because I can't France as interference. There must be autonomy. I can't France as interference. And I'm saying today that yes, there was a problem cautioned by Dana Airline. It is not enough to suspend them, except you have been investigated and come with a report that there's something wrong.
All right. Okay. Olumide. Okay, I guess what we'll do now is just to wait for the outfall or the, of course, the investigation. By the time it is conducted, we get to wait for the results and actually know or determine what actually happened and why there was a veering off of that particular airplane. But then thank you so much, Olumide, for talking to us. Let's talk security now. Now, the African Counterterrorism Summit has ended in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, with African leaders tasked to form a common front in combating the root causes of terrorism on the continent. Major General A.G. Laka, National Coordinator, National Counterterrorism Center, reiterated the commitment of African leaders to fighting the menace.
Terror cannot coexist in the same space as democracy and good governance. Such a force can stand as a strong deterrent to large-scale and protracted terrorist operations.
For many years, we have pushed for greater cooperation to counter terrorism and tackle the proliferation of unregistered and untraceable small arms. There are 40 million small arms and light weapons under the control of non-state actors in Africa. The challenge of confronting terrorism is different in scale and design. We're fighting networks that know no boundaries or borders.
The epicenter of terrorism has shifted from the Middle East and North Africa into sub-Saharan Africa, concentrated largely in the Sahel region.
We condemn the growing use of a variety of new technology for terrorist purposes, including use of remotely operated systems to prepare or conduct terrorist attacks.
Away from security stories, we now talk politics. Now, the Ondo State People's Democratic Party governorship primary election, scheduled for April 25, 2024, will be conducted by a 7-man primary election committee headed by Bayelsa State's Deputy Governor Lawrence Erujapo. He said that the 7 aspirants have been cleared by the Senator Sam Egu Screening Committee to participate in the primary election. A total of 627 delegates from the 18 local government areas of the state are expected to elect the standard bearer of the party for the November 16, 2024 governorship election. So at this point, our correspondent Niyi Omoni joins me now to bring us the updates. Niyi, it's a pleasure having you around.
Lekon, thank you for having me.
Okay, beautiful. So tell us, what is it about these primaries that we need to understand? We know that you covered the APC primaries and we know what happened. Now we're having the PDP primary coming up. What details should we be updated with?
Okay, well, Lekon, the People's Democratic Party is a major opposition to the All Progressives Congress in the state. And of course, just a few days after the APC had their primaries, the PDP will be having their own primaries tomorrow. By this time tomorrow, I want to believe they will have nominated a candidate and a flag bearer for the party. As against the direct primaries which the APC had, the PDP will be having an indirect primaries which will involve over 627 delegates who will make that nomination. But we are right here at the PDP Secretariat in Ondo State, and I have just with me here the Publicity Secretary of the party in Ondo State, Mr. Kennedy Peretta. Please just give us more information. What will be the modality like tomorrow?
Well, like you're aware, we have conducted 2 congresses, the World Congresses that nominated or elected 609 delegates, and then the local government congresses that elected 18 national delegates, bringing the total to 627. This is going to form the Electoral College, and that is the delegates that are going to nominate or elect the candidate of the PDP for the November 16 elections here in Ondo State. Everything is set now. The International Culture and Event Center, which we call the Dome, built by the PDP government in Ondo State, is going to house, is going to be the center for, or the venue for this event. And everything is set. You can just go and view around the place. And we specifically chose the venue because of its features in terms of security, in terms of space, and everything. So everything is set for tomorrow, and it's going to be what I call Democracy 101. 101 because it's the elementary, it's the basics of our democracy. And if a party that is going to maybe nominate somebody that will be presiding over the affairs of Ondo State, and that process is not credible, that process is not fair, then the Ondo State will be changed. And in this connection, we are going to teach the world how we have always elected our candidates in a very transparent, credible, and fair process. So I will respect tomorrow.
I see you just had to put it out there that PDP built the dome where the collation will be happening, where the exercise will be happening. But let's leave that. Let's quickly talk about the aspirants. How many aspirants have been screened? How many are viable to contest? And of course, what are the credibility of these aspirants?
Well, 7 of them were cleared by the Senator Egu panel, screening panel. None was disqualified. That means all of them have fulfilled the constitutional requirement to become governor of any state. If you profile them, if you look at their profiles, you will see how loaded they are. So we are good to go, very good to go. For any of them that is elected to be governorship candidate, you can be rest assured, Ondo State will be better for it.
Do you think the person who will eventually become the flag bearer will be strong enough to pull against the ruling party, which has been in power for a while now?
Honestly speaking, the APC cannot put something on nothing and expect it to stand. As far as we know in Ondo State, they did not have a primary election. So which candidate are they talking about? So whoever, even the weakest, so to speak, of our candidates will do better than they have done, because all those who put that money in terms of nomination form, logistics, campaigning to people to come and vote for them, only for them to get the venue and discover that nobody is there, no materials for election. Journalists, I'm one of those that went to monitor the election. I didn't see anybody voting anywhere. So now whoever comes out from the PDP camp is going to beat them silly, because they don't have anything to stand on.
Leko, you've heard it. It's going to be a long ride. I'm sure when the PDP finally choose their flag bearer, there's still a long way to go, because the November 16 election, gubernatorial election, is the D-Day, and PDP is showing like it's going to raise a very, very strong opposition against the ruling All Progressives Congress.
Neomoni, thank you so much for the updates coming from Ondo State, and of course the PDP and what they're trying to do with the primaries. We're going to keep tabs on that, and we hope that you continue to bring us the details as it unfolds. Thank you so much. Let's move on now. A former Attorney General, Zacchaeus Adango SAN, who was deployed to the Ministry of Special Duties by Governor Siminalayi Fubara on Tuesday, has resigned again from the Rivers State Cabinet. Adango was among the core loyalists of the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, who resigned last December, but was later restored to his position following a peace agreement reached in Abuja. In a letter to the Secretary of the Rivers State Government, Tami Danagogo, on Wednesday, Adango rejected the deployment and resigned from the Rivers Executive Council with effect from April 24. He said he chose to leave the government to preserve his reputation. Adango accused the governor of interfering with his duties as the Attorney General, alleging that the governor had directed him not to defend or oppose suits filed against the Attorney General and the government of Rivers State by individuals sponsored by the state government. Away from that, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has warned the former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, to submit himself to the anti-graft agency, saying that there is no hiding place for him. The chairperson of the commission, while speaking to newsmen in Abuja, says that claims that the former governor was not invited by the commission are false and frivolous and an attempt to whip public sentiments. He says Bello has questions to answer over corruption allegations, and the commission is committed to ensuring that he gives a thorough explanation to the public.
Was it not worse for him to have even run away that day? Because if he had surrendered himself or submitted himself to us that day, we wouldn't have declared him wanted. Do you know the implication of somebody being declared wanted? Usually we do quarter of a page, but because of his attitude, we had to do full page. I didn't mind using my salary. It's been watch listed all over the world. He can only run. They said there's no law in this country that we are following. Let all of us declare that we are a state of pariah. Everybody go and do what they like. Like I said, I don't mind the outcome of this case, but the right thing must be done. If we don't see this case through, I won't have any moral right to accuse anybody of corruption in Nigeria. I will resign.
You're watching News Central now. A break will do here. When we return, we'll bring you more stories. Do stay with us. Many thanks for being there. Let's now head north. In a bid to restore normalcy and enhance the livelihoods of its citizens, the Borno State government in Nigeria's northeast has unveiled plans to resettle 3 more communities in Ngazai local government area once affected by insurgency. Governor Babagana Zulum announced this shortly after distributing food and non-food items to 25,000 families in Ganjiram, headquarters of Ngazai local government area. News Central's Umara Kirawa completes the report.
Bukar, a person living with disability, being pushed in a wheel cart by his neighbors to receive food items. He is one among members of other families whose farm produce were affected by drought. The aim of the food distribution initiative is to build resilience within the local communities and address food security challenges.
These rights that we are given out now is from the federal government of Nigeria. And I want to commend Tinubu's administration. I want to commend the Northeast Development Commission for this support. And may Almighty Allah continue to strengthen them, give the wisdom to our president to do more for the people of the state.
The people, however, seized the opportunity to inform the governor on the significant agricultural damage caused by Quail bats to their crops.
We have now resolved to look into this problem. We are trying to identify the hideouts and then deploy technology, aerospace spray. So inshallah we shall invest, because this is one of the items this is one of the problems that militating against the production of petrol in this area.
The governor emphasized the government's commitment to prioritize the welfare of its citizens and create an enabling environment for them to rebuild their lives. To ensure the successful implementation of the resettlement plan, Governor Zulum assured that security measures will be intensified in the communities to provide a safe and secure environment for residents to rebuild their lives. In Gajiram for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Away from that, energy stakeholders have called for a multi-tier electricity market, saying this will spur the growth of the nation's power sector. This was during a 2-day National Assembly Power Stakeholders Interactive Dialogue in Abuja, where they expressed worry over the lack of growth of Nigeria's power sector, saying this is stifling the growth of the nation's economy. Amadin Uyi reports.
Despite privatization of Nigeria's power sector, many admit this has not made any visible progress, with stakeholders saying it continues to grapple with one crisis or the other.
The Nigerian power sector has grappled with challenges that have stifled its growth and hampered its efficiency. These challenges include inadequate generation capacity, dilapidated infrastructure, as was rightly mentioned by the Right Honorable Chairman, Minister, frequent disruptions in power supply, and financial inefficiencies.
In Nigeria, there is widespread recognition that we are underperforming across all 4 pillars of providing electricity supply that is reliable, affordable, environmentally sustainable, and available to all Nigerians. Indeed, by some estimates, less than 20% of Nigerians have access to reliable energy of more than 12 hours per day. 45% of Nigerians have no access to any form of electricity.
We have over 100 uncompleted transmission company projects since 2001. A lot of them are 90%, 80% completion stages. But we need funds to ensure that we and take this project before we even move on to new ones. I have power plants in river states that are idle today, not because of machine unavailability, it's because of gas. I've not had gas in the power plant for 3 months.
As Nigeria's House of Representatives holds an interactive stakeholders dialogue to chart a way forward for the sector, many say Nigeria must move towards a multi-tier electricity market.
The super grid project, we are working on it, and we are trying to acquire spinning reserves that will eliminate incessant grid collapse. From the time of President Obasanjo, a lot of money was poured into the system. Where are we? And so they now said, oh, well, maybe it's not that. The problem is the law. And I think where we are today is that having amended that law, having given the states the power, having given anybody who can invest to really come in, and then we now have a multi-tier electricity market. It has become necessary for stakeholders to address the envisaged challenges, which is shown by challenges facing NICE, and to chart a course for seamless transition to a multi-tier electricity market in Nigeria.
They say government must show more commitment to tackling the teething challenges affecting the sector and open its arms to partnership in order to solve the power sector challenges. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadin Uyi.
Nice to know you're still there. The news continues in East Africa, where the United Kingdom has finally passed the bill to deport illegal asylum seekers to Rwanda 2 years later. According to this new law, any asylum seeker in the UK who arrives at the country illegally will be deported to Rwanda. The first flight of asylum seekers in the UK is set to leave for Rwanda in July. The Rwandan government says it welcomes the decision and is also ready to receive immigrants. Rwanda said the immigrants would be taken care of, adding that they will be given accommodation and proper medical attention. Now, away from that, roads turned into gushing rivers and homes swamped by waist-high muddy waters. Storms and flash floods wreaked devastation across the Kenyan capital, Nairobi, on Wednesday, claiming at least 4 lives. The East Africa region has been lashed by relentless downpours in recent weeks, as the El Nino weather pattern exacerbated the seasonal rainfall. Across Nairobi, images posted by Kenyan media show trucks, cars and motorbikes stuck in the deluge and people wading through floodwaters in slum areas of the city to try to reach safety. An estimated 60,000 people, mostly women and children, have been severely affected by the flash floods. This is according to the Nairobi County Governor's Office. We now head to Southern Africa, where the South African Civil Aviation Authority over the weekend took its fans to yet another annual spectacular aviation show in Pretoria. It was a thrilling event that not only displayed the incredible aviation capabilities, but also served as a source of entertainment for aviation enthusiasts of all ages. News Central's Bongani Siziba was at the aviation show and filed in this report.
The South African Civil Aviation Authority's annual airshow in Pretoria brought to life over the weekend. Thrilling aerobatics, cutting-edge helicopters and classic planes filled the sky, captivating aviation enthusiasts of all ages. This isn't just a show, it's inspiration. For young kids to seasoned pilots, everyone there experienced the magic of flight.
I'm proud of my husband. I'm proud of the country is doing very great with aviation. So it's such an honor to be here today.
You know, black communities, we are not exposed to this type of environment. And I think it's a great opportunity for young ones to see how open this aviation business is. And I'm excited to be here with my kids, and so that they can see how many opportunities are here.
From heart-pounding stunts to up-close aircraft displays, the show offered something for everyone. Each jet engine roared as pilots pushed their skills to the limit, leaving the crowd breathless.
It was really nice to see how they could create the patterns in the sky with the smoke and everything. Really fun to see that some kids are like working from their generation. Like, you know, there's a story there about some younger boy who who is now also a pilot, and his father was a pilot before that. So it's really fun to see how the aviation generation grows on and on and on.
I think it's really amazing, and I really wanted to see the pilots. The jet was really fast. It was putting vibrations into the ground, and I loved it.
For the young attendees, it was a chance to witness the wonders of flight up close and personal. This aviation show was more than just entertainment. It is an opportunity for career guidance, a chance to explore the diverse paths that the aviation industry has to offer. From pilots to engineers, air traffic controllers to aviation managers, the possibilities are endless.
And I have seen the decline in aviation personnel over the years, and that led to the establishment of Conquer Aviation. So what we are involved mostly in aviation is trying to close that skill shortage in the industry. And if you ask most of the kids about what is aviation, most of them, 90% of them, will tell you aviation is about pilots, when it's actually not. It's got many things.
There's a lot of, as much as some people look at it from an outside perspective, there's still more things inside, like how an aircraft flies, and especially because we just grew up as aviation being an environment for smart people, and people have a spectrum that aviation is only for people that do pure maths and all of that, but it's actually for everyone, and if you are determined about it, then you can do it.
This showcase of innovation highlighted the remarkable progress of aviation. As the sun set on the spectacular event, the South African Civil Aviation Authority left a lasting impression. The agency's dedication to aviation excellence saw through the hearts and minds of everyone present.
We're still in South Africa anyway, and the country's Department of International Relations has expressed shock following the recent discovery of a mass grave in Palestine. The mass grave is said to contain more than 200 Palestinian civilians, and DIRCO says the findings call for an immediate investigation to ensure that justice is served for the victims and their families, and for Israel to own up and take accountability. South Africa has further called on international community to act and bring the perpetrators to book. South Africa earlier this year became the first country to file a lawsuit against Israel at the International Court of Justice to end the war in Gaza. From the south, we move to the north of the African continent, where displaced Palestinians living in tents are cornered at the border with Egypt, as fears are rising that Israel will soon launch an assault on Rafah. Tens of thousands of displaced Palestinians have crammed into Rafah area on Gaza's border with Egypt to escape Israeli bombardments. The United Nations said on Wednesday, despite their fears, that they will also not be safe there. They said there is no safe place in all of Gaza except for the area. The UN Humanitarian Office said that most of the displaced people in Rafah were sleeping rough because of a lack of tents, although the UN had managed to distribute a few hundreds. Civilians have been arriving following evacuation orders by the Israeli military that covered areas in and around the southern Gaza city of Khan Yunis.
حسب ما انه يقال بانه بده يدخل رفح، بس فيما بعد وفي صفقات لسه صفقة الأسرى هاي دخول رفح حيصير عائق في وجه نتنياهو نفسه.
والله ما في منطقة في كل عالم غزة آمنة، حتى الآن فيش منطقة آمنة إلا هالمنطقة هذا عشان بيننا وبين المصريين. إن دخل اليهود عنا هان والله ما في بضل ولا منطقة آمنة في كل رفح. وقفوا الحرب، إحنا ناس بدنا نعيش. احنا يا عم ناس سالمين، احنا لا تعون طخ ولا تعون قتل ولا تعون حاجه، احنا ناس مواطنين بدنا نعيش، عندنا صغار بدنا نربيهم، بدنا نطعمهم، بس يا رب يا رب يا رب ما تصل مرحله انه الجيش الاسرائيلي يخش المنطقه هذه، لانه اذا وصل المنطقه هذه اباده بمعنى الكلمه، بمعنى جميع الكلمات اباده حيكون. انت بتخيل قديش في هنا عالم؟ بتخيل قديش في عالم هان؟ عالم يعني ايش اقول لك؟ عالم كثير هنا.
يروحونا دورنا راحة صحتين نقعد على ترابها، نقعد أنا عندي 4 دور كلهن نزلن وانحرقن، مش إشكال، كله هذا العوض في وجه الله.
Away from the shores of Africa, we'll tell you that Israel pounded Gaza with airstrikes and artillery fire in its war against Hamas on Wednesday after the U.S. Congress approved $13 billion in military aid. Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz said the Senate's approval of the aid package already passed by the House of Representatives sent a strong message to all the enemies in a post on social media platform X. U.S.-Israeli relations have been strained by Israel's conduct of the war in Gaza and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's determination to send troops into the southern Gazan city of Rafah, where 1.5 million people are sheltering, many in makeshift encampments. Earlier on Wednesday, hospital and security sources in Gaza reported Israeli airstrikes in Rafah, as well as the central Nuseirat refugee camp.
Israel is moving ahead with our operation to target Hamas in Rafah. We will, as usual, be making every effort to move civilians out of harm's way as we have done in the past. We believe that we've destroyed at least 18 or 19 of Hamas's 24 battalions, but the 4 battalions which remain in Rafah cannot be shielded from Israel. They will be attacked. As Benny Gantz, our minister in the Security Cabinet, has said very, very clearly, we cannot put out 80% of this Hamas genocidal army fire and leave 20% still roaring, because that 20% will retake Gaza, they will regroup and retake Gaza, and they will attack us again. They wish to do October the 7th again, and we will not let that happen. We refuse to live next to this genocidal, poisonous terror army anymore.
In the meantime, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has clashed with his German counterparts Frank-Walter Steinmeier over the Israel-Hamas war. Erdogan accused the West of siding with Israel, while Gaza has been completely razed to the ground. Steinmeier, who has had a tricky relationship with the Turkish leader and has been quick to call out Erdogan's approach towards Israel, replied by condemning Hamas's October 7 attack, saying that without October 7, the war in Gaza and the Middle East would not be taking place.
Yoğun ticari ilişkileri artık ayakta tutmuyoruz. O iş bitti. Tabii çocuk, kadın, yaşlı büyük bir burada maalesef ağır manzara var. Bu manzarayı Alman dostlarımızın görmesi lazım. Bu kadar Gazze, Filistin tamamıyla yerle yeksan olmuş. Her taraf yıkılmış. Bütün bunların yanında tüm Batı kimin yanında yer alıyor? İsrail'in yanında yer alıyor. İsrail'in acımasız bu saldırıları karşısında Gazze'nin böyle bir imkanı var mı? Yok. İmkansızlıklar içerisinde bütün bunlara rağmen biz şu anda rehinelerin takası noktasında bir gayretin içerisindeyiz. Bir mücadelenin içerisindeyiz. Temenni ederiz ki bu takasta başarılı oluruz.
Die Hamas hat mit dem brutalen Überfall auf Israel 1200 Frauen getötet, Männer, Kinder an einem Tag ermordet. Immer noch seit über einem halben Jahr sind über 130 Israelis in Geiselhaft. Ich will sagen, nach meiner Überzeugung, ohne den 7. Oktober gäbe es den Krieg im Nahen Osten nicht. Wir haben über Differenzen gesprochen, aber vor allen Dingen haben wir
In business, the Lagos Commodities and Futures Exchange is set to make history as Nigeria's first commodities exchange to facilitate the trading of crude oil and gas with an annual target of 50 million barrels. This development raises questions about the benefits it will bring to domestic refiners, as well as the challenges that lie ahead. During his appearance on the Business Edge show, Olufemi Oladeyin, the group CEO of Petrolex Oil and Gas Limited, shared his thoughts on this significant milestone.
The market has consistently looked for alternative platforms And you, just thinking about it, that most of the crude that has been produced by the Nigerian market or the Nigerian producers obviously always ends up outside of Nigeria. To then now have a platform where Nigerians can actually, or Nigerian corporates and QIs can actually start to look at potential crude trading as both an investment opportunity as well as a source of getting crude for either their refineries or the other places where they want to use it. It's actually quite a positive development. I think we are quite excited about it because of the
In the world of sports, the media officer of the Golden Eaglets, Francis Archie, has revealed that the Nigeria Football Federation has mandated all players invited to the Under-17 national team camp to undergo pre-camping MRI scans before resuming at the camp. The newly appointed head coach of the Golden Eaglets, Manu Garba, invited over 51 players to camp ahead of the WAFU Zone B title defense in Ghana from May 15 to 29, 2024. Pre-campaign MRI scans were made compulsory for the players to avoid a situation where players will be dropped for failing MRI tests when the tournament officially kicks off.
Technical department, and they've already informed these players that when you are coming to camp, make sure that you come with your MRI test result so that we will know the kind of people or the kind of players you are training. And for the MRI, you must be on grade 1 to 4. That is the instruction from the Nigerian Football Federation. Concerning the MRI itself, you can be on grade 5 pass, but NFF said that it will not be too good it will be too risky for players on grade 5 to be taken to the tournament, because when you are on grade 5, the borderline between grade 5 and 6 is so little, anything can happen. So players that are coming to the camp must be on grade 1 to 4.
We also tell you that the Algerian Under-17 national handball team has withdrawn from the Arab Championship in protest at the Moroccan team wearing a jersey featuring a full map of Morocco. The news comes on the heels of the recent incident in a CAF Confederation match in Algeria last week, where the Algerian Football Federation confiscated CAF-approved jerseys worn by Moroccan club RS Berkane because they featured a map of Morocco, which included the disputed Western Sahara territory. The Algerian and Moroccan national teams were scheduled to go head-to-head on the third day of the Under-17 Arab Championship. The Algerian team's boycott has left the Moroccan side without opponents in the tournament. Now, Austria's national team coach Ralf Rangnick has said he has been contacted by Bayern Munich about taking over the managerial position at the Bundesliga club. Current Bayern boss Thomas Tuchel will leave the Allianz Arena at the end of the season, and Rangnick has been among those tipped to replace his fellow German. Rangnick, who is 65 years, is currently in charge of the Austrian national side, who is preparing for the upcoming European Championships. Ralf Rangnick, who had a 6-month stint at Manchester United as interim manager during the 2021-2022 season, indicated any decision he makes will not be driven by money. Ralf Rangnick has won the German Cup and reached the Champions League semi-finals with Schalke 04 in 2011. And that's all at this hour, but before we go, we'll take a look at some of our major stories. Nigeria's aviation minister has ordered the immediate suspension of Dana Air. 4 dead, over 60,000 displaced as flood wreaks havoc in Kenya. Finally, we told you that first flight of asylum seekers set to leave United Kingdom for Rwanda in July. You can send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number and email on your screen. While you do that, follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can also watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekon Onobanjo.